Welcome to the Disability Awareness Podcast, presented by the Flagstaff Group, a not-for-profit disability enterprise for over 60 years. Our vision, a world that only sees abilities. Our purpose, to provide life skills and work for people with disability. Disability awareness isn't about being politically correct. It's about being human. It's about understanding that disability is part of life and that everyone in every business, club or community can play a role in inclusion.
I woke up feeling on top of the world, like nothing's ever gonna bring me down. This feeling got me flying high as a bird. I may never touch the ground.
Through this podcast, we'd like to share our knowledge, supporting you to be more disability aware.
It may not be my birthday, but I just want to celebrate.
Across Australia, around 1 in 5 people live with disability. That's about 5.5 million Australians. Family members, neighbours, co-workers, teammates. And about 90% of those disabilities are not visible. You might not see someone's hearing loss, brain injury, anxiety, or chronic pain, but it's there and known as a hidden disability. So today, let's start a conversation about what awareness really means, what inclusion looks like, and how workplaces and communities can lead the way.
I just want to celebrate, 'cause it's a good day, good life. I just want to celebrate all night.
Disability awareness starts with the simple idea that everyone has value and equal. We are all people. When we focus on what people can do rather than what they can't, we open doors. Just think about your own workplace, group or club. You probably already work with, serve, or coach people with disability without even realising it. Awareness is about recognising barriers and learning to remove them, whether they are physical, social, or attitudinal. It's also about asking and not assuming. Ask what works best for someone. Ask how they'd like to participate. Ask what makes them feel welcome. Sometimes inclusion is as simple as patience, giving someone time to answer. Sometimes it's physical, like making sure a ramp isn't blocked by a bin. Other times it's cultural, like setting a tone that says everyone is respected and included. The way we talk matters. Language shapes attitudes. People understand words differently. So here are some tips on disability language etiquette. Always say a person with disability, not the disabled. That small change puts the person first, before their disability. Use vision impaired instead of blind, hearing impaired instead of deaf, and never use the word dumb. That is totally inappropriate. Avoid phrases like suffers from or confined to a wheelchair. Instead, say uses a wheelchair or lives with a disability. Speak directly to the person, not their support worker. A person with a disability might say they are disabled. The person is the one who guides you if they want to be labelled. If you make a mistake, apologise, correct yourself and move on. Inclusion isn't about perfection. It's about respect. Just small changes in tone, word choice or attitude can make a massive difference to whether someone feels welcome. Also remember, don't touch aids or pat guide dogs without permission. The wheelchair is a tool people use. It's not their identity. And if you're unsure how to help, just ask. Now let's talk about disability and employment. Australia still has a big gap when it comes to jobs. Around half of working-age people with disability are employed, compared to about 80% of people without disability. That gap hasn't moved much in decades. But here's the good news. Businesses that employ people with disability often report stronger staff loyalty, lower turnover, and great teamwork. Inclusion isn't charity, it's good business. There are myths that need busting in the workplace. Myth 1. Hiring someone with disability is too hard or too expensive. Reality? Most adjustments are low or no cost. Things like flexible hours, rearranging a workspace, or adding captions to a training video. Government programs can even fund modifications and supports. Myth 2. People with disability need constant supervision. The reality? Everyone needs onboarding and support. Once settled, employees with disability often show excellent reliability and problem-solving skills. Myth 3. Safety is a concern. Reality? A workplace that listens and adapts for one person usually becomes safer and more efficient for everyone. Let me share a quick story. A small business in Nowra hired Sam, a young man with intellectual disability. Sam started with basic mailroom duties. Over time, he mastered the filing system better than anyone else. He never missed a day, and the owner said later, "I thought I was giving someone a chance, but Sam's changed the way we work. We've learned patience, clarity, and teamwork. And Sam is growing his skills and tasks. He is an integral part of our team." That's the heart of inclusion. Not charity, not tokenism, just people working together with fairness and respect. Let's look at how the National Disability Insurance Scheme, or NDIS, fits in. The NDIS supports Australians with permanent, significant disability. It funds things like finding and retaining a job, transport, equipment, and skill building. But beyond funding, it's built on a philosophy called person-centred practice. Person-centred practice means starting with the person, not the system. It's about listening. What are your goals? What works for you? What support helps you thrive? In the workspace, that could mean giving choices about how training is delivered, written, visual, or verbal. In a club or community group, it might mean asking when and where someone feels most comfortable to join in. That's not just good disability inclusion, it's smart leadership. Inclusion doesn't stop at work. It continues in sport, clubs, and everyday life. 1 in 3 Australians with disability avoids community activities because they expect poor treatment or awkwardness. That's a big number, and it's avoidable. When clubs, councils, and local groups think about access from the start, it changes everything. Another quick story to get you thinking. A local soccer club wanted to be more inclusive. They added a quiet tent for players who needed a sensory break, captioned their training videos, and included people with intellectual disability in volunteer roles. Within 1 year, the club had record membership, parents said their child felt seen and supported, and the best part? Other children started learning about inclusion by example. So no special training required, just good leadership. That's belonging. That's community. Creating inclusive spaces isn't complex. It just takes thought and consistency. If you're a business owner or HR manager, review your job ads and induction packs. Do they welcome people with disability? Do they mention that adjustments are available? If you are on a community board or club committee, check your events. Are they accessible? Are communications clear and in plain English? Have you asked for feedback from people with lived experience? Can you make accommodations to welcome new members? Every person can start small. Make accessibility a standing agenda item at meetings. Ask, who might be left out by this decision? Celebrate inclusion stories publicly. When inclusion becomes a habit, it becomes culture. Disability awareness is ultimately about equality, the belief that everyone has the same right to contribute and belong. It is also about connection, for when we connect, we learn. When we listen, we grow. Whether you manage a company, run a cafe, lead a hobby group, coach a netball team, or volunteer at a local not-for-profit, inclusion starts with you. You don't need all the answers, just curiosity, empathy, and a willingness to adjust. And remember, accessibility benefits everyone. A ramp helps a wheelchair user, but it also helps parents with prams and delivery drivers. Video captions support people with hearing impairment and people watching in noisy rooms or if they don't have headphones. You see, inclusion isn't niche. It's universal design for a fair world. Flagstaff has been creating opportunities for people with disability for more than 60 years, providing life skills training, employment and NDIS supports across the Illawarra, Shoalhaven and Macarthur regions. Flagstaff believes in seeing ability, not barriers. People work in print, mail, laundry, recycling, grounds maintenance and light manufacturing. These are real jobs, real teamwork, real inclusion. Through facilitated and guided supports and tools, Flagstaff supports organisations and communities to make inclusion part of everyday life. The Access to Work program provides workplace awareness training, coaching and practical tools for managers, HR teams and community leaders to confidently include people with disability. It's about creating pathways from school to work, from community participation to employment and helping everyone see what's possible. By partnering with Access to Work, businesses and clubs don't just tick a box, they build stronger teams, better culture, and a reputation for doing the right thing. Flagstaff's We Belong program connects people with community and builds their confidence to join groups, sport, and clubs. So, as you go about your week, ask yourself, what's one small change I can make to include someone? Maybe it's rewriting a job ad, or as we said, captioning a video, or simply inviting someone new to join your group. Awareness is just the start. Inclusion is the action, and belonging is the outcome. Because when everyone is included, we all win.
It may not be my birthday, but I just want to celebrate.
Thank you for listening to the Disability Awareness Podcast, presented by the Flagstaff Group. To learn more, visit flagstaffgroup.com.au and check out the We Belong and Access to Work programs, where inclusion becomes opportunity.
This podcast was funded by the Australian Government through the Department of Social Services Information Linkages and Capacity Building Program and Structural Adjustment Fund.